Yes.
What makes him such a complex character?
Well, I think what I try to do with him is tell him as a cautionary tale for men, in the sense of he's an example of what can happen when ambition and the desire for power that I think a lot of men have. And certainly men might disagree, but most women would actually agree that men like to be the king of everything and they always think they know best. And so this is a case of a man who really runs away with that idea, is prepared to sacrifice anything, and then bears the consequences of some really bad decisions that he makes in order to get powerful. And his guilt really starts to drive him mad, quite literally. So it's a complex telling of something that is basically very simple and very common to men. For example, the desire for ambition. And it's told in an extremely dramatic way.
Do you think Angelina pull off the villain role?
I think that's what's so incredible about her. She manages to pull off both in the same film. There's very few actors who could do that, and then there's even fewer movie stars who are loved as heroes who would do that, or who would even dare to go into the world of I hate you to a baby and then know that she can bring the audience back, which she does very successfully.
And how did you get into character? How did you prepare for that with Angelina?
Yeah, I mean, the fight stuff was my least favorite, just in the sense of I have a real issue with sort of any kind of violence in any way in my personal life, you know, of just the way I was brought up, with men having any sort of violence towards women, I think is absolutely unacceptable. There's no reality in which it's acceptable to me. So that was actually the hardest stuff that I had to do in the film. And it was just a thing of mentally really having to convince myself that I was doing it for the sake of setting some sort of moral example with the character at the end of sort of don't end up like this kind of thing to people, that I could justify it to myself to try and play that stuff.
How did you get into character?
For me, it's just I don't have to go through any massive preparation. Once I have the idea of the character, which in this case was to hook onto this seed idea of male ambition, which most men would have, I just take that to an extreme form. And the accent, doing a Scottish accent in this, the accent is massively important for me. So as soon as I'm in the accent, it informs how I want to play the character. It informs the cultural references. In this case, I chose Scottish because I thought it worked very well to go from a common man. You buy a Scottish accent as a common man, but you also buy it as a regal king. Where, for example, I could have chosen, you know, South London as an accent for the common man in the same sort of movie, but then it doesn't work for the king as well. So, for me, if he believes what he's doing is not necessarily, is not bad, you know, and I think all the guys that play good villains know that you